Okay, so we're going to do a quick installation here, I think, at least. I'm going to try to show you how to install WordPress really quickly. We're going to configure it, and then we're going to talk real quick about how to use your blog. So, you know, if you're an advanced user, this will be review for you. So you may want to grab a cup of coffee and come back in 10 minutes, or you can just hang out and watch as a reminder and a refresher. So let's go here. So first of all, if you're using your hosting account, most hosting accounts nowadays have what they call Fantastico, which is this little, whoops, I need to shift. There we go. Okay, so I'm in my hosting account here, and you'll notice most hosting accounts have what they call Fantastico. If you look for the little blue smiley face, this is the easiest way to install a WordPress blog. Now, I noticed that when I logged in here earlier, that they even have this new thing here, quick install WordPress for your site. So you see, it's really highly and heavily supported by a lot of different services. This is the first I've seen of this. I don't even know exactly what it is. So I'm going to have to try this later, but it looks like a different version of Fantastico. Okay, so just because I happen to know Fantastico and I hadn't seen this till today, I'm going to stick with Fantastico. Okay, I'm going to go in, and so you can see I have a whole bunch of blogs installed already. So here's all you have to do. You find the blogs that are supported. Here's WordPress. And I'm going to say new installation. And I'm going to put it on, let me see, let's put it on gurucoaching.com. I'm going to install it in the directory, let's call it blog 1, because I don't know if I have, no, I don't think I have blog, so let's call it blog. And I'm going to call this Lou and password, just for the heck of it. Coach Lou, and let's say gurucoaching@gmail.com. I'm going to call it Action Coaching Club Test Blog. Welcome to the Action Coaching Club blog. Okay, and that's it. I mean, that's all you really need to do to get started. You basically say what domain is it going on, what folder is it going to be in, and in this case, I'm not going to put it right on gurucoaching.com. I'm going to install it in gurucoaching.com/blog. Just makes it easier to keep all those files together later so that I can go delete it easily. I'm going to give my administrator username. I'm going to define as my name. Password, I'm going to just say password. And then this is the name that's going to appear whenever I post something. So I'm just going to say Coach Lou with caps. And then whenever anything's happening on the blog that I want to be notified as an administrator, is going to go to that email. This is the header name, and this is the tagline under the header on the blog. And that's it. We should be able to go and install WordPress. There we go. So now it's saying the access URL is gurucoaching.com/blog. So I'll finish the installation. And we are done. Okay. Install, configured. Okay, and that's it. Bookmark the site. Okay, let's go over and have a look. By the way, and then what you can do is you can say, well, I don't remember all of the specifics of what I did here, my passwords, my usernames, and whatever else. So you can just say, send me an email that summarizes all this stuff. Okay, there we go. And now what I can do is go to the overview, find my new blog here, gurucoaching.com, visit the site, and there's my blog. I'm up and running. Just that easy, just that quick. Okay, now that's the default configuration, default theme and everything. However, you know, basically ready to post stuff to the world. And I'm pretty sure that I'm logged in, but if I'm not, here's how you log in. So this is what your users see. Now what you want to do to use this is go into your administration panel, the login panel. Okay, so remember I was Lou, password, login. There we go. and now I'm logged into my blog. Okay, this is what it looks like in the back. Now, the thing that you're going to want to do to begin it, before you do anything, is you're going to want to configure the parameters of your blog. So the default options are okay, but there's a couple of things that you might want to know about. And so the way we'll do that is go into settings. Let me see the tools you don't need to worry about. Okay, so you're going to go into settings one by one, go down each one of these, and I'll show you what you need to do just to get it configured to optimize for your particular installation. Okay, so here's the site title, the tagline. Here's where it exists. Now, if you want, sometimes you may want to install the WordPress files in a subfolder like /blog, but you want people to be able to go to, for example, gurucoaching.com. Okay, in other words, even though the WordPress files are in the subfolder, I want them to look at it and say gurucoaching.com. And so in that case, just read this information here. It'll tell you how to do that. And typically I would recommend that. Typically I would recommend people coming to find your blog under your main domain, but that you save the files related to your WordPress installation in a subfolder. It just makes it easier because all of the files related to that installation are in one folder. Makes it easier to find them, makes them easier to manage them, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, but by default, I put them both in the blog folder, and I'm asking people to type this whole domain, gurucoaching.com/blog, to find it. So if you're actually online now, you could go over to gurucoaching.com/blog, and you'll see this blog. Okay, that's the email address. Now, membership. If you want anyone to be able to register for your blog, then you'll click this. Now, people, you may want them to register if you have any kind of controlled content or content that's just for people who are registered and so on. But generally speaking, if this is a place where they just come and read information and maybe leave a comment here and there, then you don't have to worry about that. You don't need people to necessarily register. If you want to limit who can register, then you're going to specify it later. If you want anybody in the world to come to your blog and register, then you click this link. You want to be careful about using this because this increases the amount of spam that you get sometimes. So typically by default you'll leave that as it is. And by default, you don't want them to be administrators or editors or anything. You just want people to be subscribers. So if you do let them register, then you're going to let them only be able to read what's on the blog and comment and nothing else. Okay, you may want to change your time zone. I think I'm UTC -5 here. Is there a city down here anywhere? I guess it's only, I guess you have to sort of know. Oh, here we go. There's an easier way to do it. Indian, Australia. Come on. Yeah. Oh, well, you get the idea here. Why am I having trouble finding this? Argentina. Oh, it's alphabetical. Okay. Oh, well, whatever. I don't have the patience to find it now. I wish they'd have made that easier. Anyway, I think I'm UTC -5. So the date format, this is just the way when you post something when you post new content, the date appears. You can just decide how you want those, how you want that date to appear. And that's okay. And time format, if you want it, 24 hours, if you want it AM, PM, or just the time. So this is just preferential. It doesn't matter about it doesn't matter from the use or SEO or any other value of the blog. So this is really just about how you want this to look and feel. Okay. So you can save those, the general settings. Then the writing settings. When you're adding content, there's going to be a box that shows up that displays the content that you're adding. For me, I like it to be a little bit bigger, so I usually make this, at least 30, usually 40 lines. You don't have to, but I'll show you where that is. But I typically like to see more of what I'm writing, so I make it a little bit bigger, 40 to 50. Formatting, that's okay. Should correct nested XHTML. If you're concerned that your theme and your code is compliant to the standards, then you'll probably want to correct invalidly nested XHTML. The default post is going to be uncategorized. This is standard. This is okay. You don't normally this you don't want to worry about unless you're actually using a piece of software on your desktop to send your content by email to your blog, in which case you'll set that up. Most times you don't need to do this, and if you do, the software that you use will tell you how to configure this, so I'm not going to spend time on it. And if you do that, then you're going to also want to activate the remote publishing platform. So if you want to post a WordPress from a desktop client or from remote sites, then you want to enable one of these platforms. Again, most of us don't worry about that. And here's the update services that I was talking about in the Codex. So here, what I would normally do is head over to codex.wordpress.org. Let me just look. I'm going to search for update services. Update services. Okay, here you go. Okay, that's the link I gave you earlier. And what you're going to want to do is just scroll down and copy all of these and go into your writing section here and replace this one line with all of those update services. Okay. Now every time you post, all of these services are going to be notified that you've got new content. This increases your chances of your new content being seen by all of the different notification services and get indexed faster. Okay, and that's save changes from there. Reading your latest posts. You know, you want to show 10 posts at a time. Don't worry about all this stuff. Put the full text here for article. Okay, this is okay. So the only thing that maybe something that you want to change here is if you want to put a page like an About Us page or a products page or a services page on the main on your front page of the blog. So for example, where did I put that? Let's go back to gurucoaching.com/blog for a sec. Okay, so right now, by default, it's going to list all my posts, right? Well, if I don't want that blog to show up, if I want a page to show up, like, for example, this page, right? Sample page, if I wanted that to be my home page, instead of the blog listings, then what I would do is I would actually make a static page my home page. And I would say the front page is sample page, which is what this is, see, sample page. If I do that, then and then the post page is where do I want my blog posts to appear? Well, in this case, I haven't created a page for it yet, but if I do this, let me just show you what will happen. If I go back here, now when I go home, see, I'm not seeing the blog listing. Now I'm seeing the page that I said I wanted to be my home page. So if you want a static page to show up as your home page, that's how you do it. And then if you want the blog, your latest posts, to show up as a home page, okay? Then when I go home here, right, now I've got my blog posts coming up. Okay, generally speaking, let's just say that it's your latest posts because it is your blog after all. And then we'll go to the discussion. Okay, a lot of these tend to be preferential and the defaults are usually pretty good, but let's just go through them. So attempt to notify any blogs linked to from the article. So this is okay. What happens here is that if you link to, let's say that you refer to a blog, you're writing an article, you're writing a post, and you refer to my blog, and you put a link to my blog. If this is checked, then WordPress will try to notify my blog that you're writing about me. And if I happen to have a WordPress blog, then I can actually link back to you automatically. So this is a good thing to do, right? So that you get more blog. Every time you refer, you link to another site, another URL that happens to be a WordPress blog, they'll talk to each other and maybe even point to each other. So it's a good thing to do. It may slow down a little bit how long it takes for you to actually post your information, but not by much. And allow link notifications from other blogs. So that's the opposite situation. So when somebody if somebody is writing a blog post about you and they put a link to your blog and they have a WordPress blog, if they have this turned on, then what you're saying is, yes, I want to be notified when someone tries to notify me about having written and pointed to my blog. Okay, and then this is allow people to post comments. Obviously, you generally want to say yes to that. You'd like the author to fill out the name and the email address, so that helps to prevent against spam, or at least minimizes it. And you could require that people be registered and logged in to comment. That's not usually, most people coming to visit your blog, they usually don't want to register and log in and all the rest of it just to leave a comment. They're reading your post, they want to leave a comment, make it easy for them. So again, the default is usually okay. If you want to close off, if you have posts that tend to be time sensitive, right? So you write a post and you want people on your list to go to your blog and leave comments and all that kind of thing, and then it's helpful sometimes to close the comments after a certain period of time. It just helps to keep the spam the spam down a little bit. So you might say automatically after 30 days, by then the life of the article is pretty well run its course. So I'm just going to close it so I don't get any other spam stuff going on there. If you want people to be able to, if you have evergreen content and you want people to post anytime they see the article, then you're going to want to leave that off. This is a good thing to do. This will thread comments. What it means is it will indent comments so that you can see which comments replied, where the threads are. So instead of now reading comments sequentially in the date that they appeared, they're organized so that anybody who replies to a comment you're going to be able to see that it's related to that comment. You don't have to scroll all the way down and then try to remember what they replied to and all the rest of it. So this is a really great thing to have. Highly recommend you use it. And then 50 comments a page is probably okay. So that'll be the default if you want to do that. Break comments into pages with 50 top-level comments per page. And the last page, so this is chronological order. And you normally want the last page, the most recent one, to be displayed by default. 50 comments is a long series of comments. You may want to just put 20. But leave it up to you. And then comments should be displayed with the older comments at the top of each page. I normally like to put the newer comments at the top of each page, but that's entirely up to you. Okay, these are not going to affect your SEO or anything like that, so it's kind of preferential. If you want to know when somebody posts a comment so that you can go and check it out and reply or whatever else, you can ask to be emailed. If you want to know when there's a comment that's held for moderation, which might be spam or has some flag words or something like that, and you need to go over and approve it, then you get emailed. Usually recommend you leave those. I don't normally require an administrator to approve the comment. When people come to your blog and they leave a comment, if it doesn't show up immediately, they're not going to know whether or not they're going to say, did it get accepted? Did something go wrong? Did I not submit it properly? Why isn't it showing up? And they may end up, typing it again 2 or 3 times, and then maybe just get frustrated and leave altogether. So that's one thing. It's not a great user experience. The other thing is, if you get a lot of traffic, you don't want to be moderating and approving every single comment, right? You just want them to show up automatically. And then whenever anybody posts, you can go over and just kind of read 10, 30, 50 comments at a time and decide if you need to take any action on them. So I recommend generally you leave that unchecked. If you're worried about spam, or if you're getting a lot of spam, then you might want to leave this here, that somebody has to have at least one comment approved already before they are automatically approved. Again, I normally don't worry about that. And if the comment has 2 or more links, this is a common characteristic of spam. So if it has 2 or more links, it's not posted automatically. It's going to be held for your moderation, and you'll get an email about it. Here you can put words specifically that you want to flag, or IPs or URLs. If some URL or some IP is visiting your blog and spamming you a lot, you can just put it in here, and that way it'll be banned from accessing your comments in your blog. Or you can put swear words or things that you want to trap here. And so if any of those things show up in the comments, then they'll get trapped and waiting your moderation. So I don't, there are lists of all these things if you want to use them. By default, you can leave it blank. Avatars, I like to show avatars. Avatars is, when you get to see people's faces and pictures, and then rate it here if you want to. Is it all audiences, possibly offensive, et cetera, et cetera. And then when someone doesn't have an avatar, how do you want to replace their picture? You could leave it blank. Normally you just put the mystery man. That's pretty indicative that people's pictures aren't available. And then we're ready to go. Media. Not much we have to do here on media, I don't think. This is thumbnail sizes and embeds. I'd probably leave all that as it is. No problem there. Privacy. Okay, so this is interesting because if you don't want your blog to be indexed, like maybe it's a JV blog, or maybe it's you know, a blog that you're sharing with a couple of friends, but you don't want the world to see it yet, or maybe you're just putting content on your blog and you're testing it out, and you know, you don't want those things to be seen. Then you could block the search engines from visiting, so that until you're ready for the world to see it, you can keep it private. Okay, this is if you don't want your blog to be indexed by the search engines. On the other hand, when you're ready to be seen by the search engines and you know, you want to get all the traffic you can and so on, you just go ahead and make it visible to everyone. Okay, now this does not block people. This isn't like password protection or anything like that, right? If somebody knows the link to your blog, they can still get there, but it's just not going to be indexed in the search engines, so it won't show up in organic traffic results. Okay, so no, in my case, because this is just a test blog and so on, I don't want anything indexed. I'm going to save the changes. And then this is kind of important here, the permalinks. By default, WordPress has this kind of weird permalink. This by the permalink, it means what's the URL that it uses for your content. The problem with this is that this is not keyword rich or search engine optimized in any way, and neither are these are good, but they're kind of long. So normally what we recommend that you do is you would do something like let's call it month and name. Okay, you're going to use a custom structure. So I just used month and name so that I can have this. Okay, watch, this is blank by default, right? And and I know that there's a specific way to specify what I want to show up here, but I can never remember what it is. It's percent signs, whatever. You know, you could look here for the number of tags, but I just kind of shortcut it, and I say, I know I want the post name to show up, so I'm going to do this. Now, I don't want the year to show up, so I'm going to delete that. I don't want the month number to show up. I'll delete that. Okay, so I just want the post name. So now, instead of gurucoaching.com/blog/?p=123, it's going to be gurucoaching.com, et cetera, and this will be replaced by the title of the post. And that title, because it's keyword rich, means that it's going to be found by the search engines and indexed properly. So I want the post name to be in my custom structure. This is really important. Okay, you could use these other ones. You know, if you have a lot of content and you think that they might actually be indexed by the same title, for example, if you think you'll actually have two titles of the same, then you might want to index it by date and time. A lot of newspaper sites will do this, right? But for the most part, in our case, post name alone is good enough. You can leave these as is, save changes, and you're good to go. All right, now you're ready to rock with your site. And these configurations are probably going to be useful and relevant to about 95% of us. You know, you may want to tweak it. You may have different requirements as we talk through, but generally speaking, that's it. This configuration is going to do you just fine. Pages, posts, and categories. Okay, so now what we're going to talk about real briefly is the way that content is placed on your blog and then organized. So think about pages. So here's pages. Think about pages as what used to be the brochure site. It's static. So once you put a page up, number one, only that page is displayed. You know, when you look at a blog, sometimes it'll have a number of posts, one after the other, one after the other. Okay, well, that doesn't happen with a page. There's only one page displayed at a time. And think of it as, you know, you're going to put content on there, and it's going to be static. It won't change typically from time to time. So this is where you put your About Us page. Excuse me. This is where you might put your contact information. This is where you put a list of all the products and services you have, stuff like that, and you may want them to appear in your navigation menu. Okay, so for example here, if I look at sample page, this is what I mean by navigation menu. Okay, so I put sample page, and this is the page that shows up. Now, comments can appear below the page, but you see it's only one page, right? It's not this page, then the next page, then the next page. So it's not organized by category or anything like that. It's just a standalone HTML page that is placed within the design of this particular layout and design. Okay, so sample page, again, could be contact us, could be about us, could be product portfolio, could be whatever you want. It's just a one-time, you fill in that, it could be testimonials page, you get the idea, hours of service, that kind of stuff. And so in that case, you would create a new page. So the way you create a page is, you create pages in Post in essentially the same way, but there's just a few different options here. So let's look at the pages that we have now. It should be just that sample page. Yep. So by default, it comes with a sample page. So let's add a new page. And we're going to enter the title, "This is my new Guru coaching page, test page." And let's ipsum lorem. Oh, I always get those backwards. Ipsum lorem, lorem ipsum. Okay, so let me just grab some text here. Okay, to put in my new page. Right. Okay. And the only other thing that I may want to be aware of here is that sometimes if you want to make like a menu structure, you might want one page to be a sub-page of another. So you might have, for example, a page that's called support, and then underneath that in the navigation you may want to call about us, and another one might be contact us, and so on and so forth. So you may place it underneath an existing page. If you want it to appear at the top level navigation, you just put under no parent. And then sometimes they have different templates, right? So by default, it only has one column, excuse me. So here it has, let me go back to my, where's my blog? Here it is. So right here, okay, this page by default has the sidebar, the menu here. But let's say I wanted to make it a full width page. Here, it allows me to have a template which is one column with no sidebar. So depending on your theme, you're going to have maybe just the default page. In this case, I have the choice between the default template that has the sidebar and the one column that has no sidebar. So let's just choose that to see a full width page and see what that looks like. And that's really all you need to worry about. You've basically now created a page. You can save a draft and you can preview it if you want. Okay, normally you'd want to do that. And let's go ahead and preview. Okay, there it is. You look it over. Notice no sidebar here. Okay, and you go, yep, it looks okay. And so you decide that you do want to publish immediately. So here, for example, you could schedule that page to be published at a certain time or date. In our case, we typically don't. And what else did I want to do? I think that's it. Yep, now I just published this. And that's it. I've added my page. So now if I go back to my blog and I go to the home, now notice what happens is by default the title appears here and the page is listed in the navigation menu. Okay. Now this was a problem before the recent release of WordPress, but now what you're going to be able to do here, when you go to pages, actually where do I do this? Tools, appearance. Okay, under appearance now they have menus. So what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to specify which pages show up in the menu and what link text they're going to have. So for example, I'm going to call here, I'm going to call this default menu. I'm going to create it. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, so my primary navigation is going to be default menu. And now I just select the pages to build my menu. All right, so I'm going to say, I'm going to create this and this, add to the menu. And what I will do though here is I'm going to change this to say Guru or ACC page. Okay, and I'll save this menu. Okay, now when I go back and I look at my home page, see what I've done? Here it is, ACC page, and now I'm looking at my Guru test page. Now there is something here, automatically add, there's forget exactly how to do this now. There is a way to leave the home page active. So let's say, for example, now though I wanted to leave the home page there, right? So if I say gurucoaching.com/blog, and the label is going to be home. I add that to my menu. I move it up so that it appears first. Save my menu. Now let me refresh. Oops, what did I just do? Refresh. Okay, now see what I've done? So I've created a home link. So now I can always get back to my home page, which is blog. So what I've done is I've actually created a page that's external page. I gave it a URL. But so now here's my ACC page. Okay, and here's my sample page that was there by default. And that's all you need to know about using pages for the most part. Now we can look real quick and see how we might, for example, we could move this in. See how this becomes a sub page of ACC? See, I move it out. Now it's the same level. Move it in underneath ACC. What happens here is now I've created, let me just refresh the page. Now what I've created is a submenu. Right? Here's my sample page. Okay, so this new feature of WordPress.3 is really great. Now it makes it possible for you to use as many pages as you want, name them what you want, and organize them any way that you want as well. And this is really good because sometimes you want pages where you want to provide people a link to the page, but you don't want it to be part of your navigation. So if you're holding, for example, a webinar, and you want to have the dial-in number and the access codes and all that stuff, well, you create a page with that information, but you don't have it appear on the menu, which means that if somebody's on your list, you give them the link to the page, and they can see the page. It's not like it's hidden or anything, but it won't show up on the menu by default, so no one else knows about it. Okay, so that's all you really need to know, and you've got pages handled for the most part. There's a couple of optimizations and tweaks, but for the most part, that's okay. Now, now it looks like you can actually, it used to be you couldn't categorize pages, but it looks like now you can, which is kind of interesting. I haven't done that before, but okay. So now you can see because these are going to show up in the menu here, and they're going to be static, right? You want the content to be static, that's pages. Now, when you want to just put recent information in there, and you want it organized so that it can be retrieved dynamically, then you're going to use posts. Now, posts, let's look at the posts that we have. Okay, we just have the one hello world post. So let's create a couple of categories first, because categories are going to help us to organize the content that we have. So let's say we call this category 1, and we're not going to create any sub-levels or anything like that. And we're just going to add this category. And instead of calling the default category uncategorized, we're going to actually call it general. Okay, and let's create another one. We'll call it category 2 and add it. Okay, now I've created a couple of different, now these are going to be my menu items on the sidebar. So you're going to want to make these keyword rich. Okay, so this might be lose weight, and this might be eat nutritiously, or natural foods, or heal fast, whatever it is. These categories, generally speaking, are going to be as keyword rich as you can make them, because they will become your navigation, right? So this is what happens. So you add a new post. Let's say this is for category 1, and I think I still have the lorem ipsum. Yeah, I do. Okay, same thing here. Generally speaking, this is going to be just a standard. Don't worry about these for right now. And here you're going to say this is information that belongs in category 1. And if you use tags, tags are like categories, but instead of a hierarchical structure, they're just like, they're networked. There's no organization top to bottom. They just, so I might say here, category 1, category 2, for example, right? But we won't worry about that right now because generally speaking, that's an advanced use, okay? And the other thing that you will want to do here, I'll show you later, is optimize this for search engines, but I'll show you how to do that in a second. So basically, you can preview this, okay? And there it is, okay? This is for category 1. And you say, it looks okay. And just, you know, again, do you want to publish it now or do you want to schedule it? I want to publish it now, that's fine. And now when I go refresh the page here, notice that right now the only category that I have showing is general, that by default, that's the only category that I had. But if I refresh the page now, you'll see I also have category 1. So what WordPress did was it looked to see that when there's content associated and assigned to category 1, it adds it to the menu by default. So now, let's say I had, and see, so here are all of the posts. Right now there's only 2. Imagine these were like 200 posts. And I didn't want to see all of them. I just wanted to see the ones related to category 1. So I just click on this, right? And now you see a listing of only the things that are in category 1. And you can continue reading. Let's see how this works. So now let's add a new one. And we're going to say this is category 1 and 2. Lorem ipsum, lorem ipsum. Now we say it's in category 1, category 2. It's standard. We won't put any tags. We'll publish it. Now I'm going to add a new post. This is just category 2. Okay, category 2, publish it. Okay, now let's look and see how that maps itself out. So I'll refresh the page. Okay, and there, by default, all the posts show up in the order that they were, in reverse chronological order, right? So the most recent was category 2. The one before that, there's category 1 and 2. The one before that is category 1, and then the default one. So now I'm going to look here. I'm going to see there's category 1, category 2 in general. All right, so I'm going to say let's see the ones that are in category 1. And so this one was assigned category 1 and 2. So whether it shows up in category 1 or whether the user wants to see category 1 or 2 posts, since we assigned both categories to it, it will show up. And then, of course, this one was only assigned to category 1, so it will show up as well. Because whenever I assign category 1, it shows anything that's been posted in those categories. Now here you'll see was posted in category 1 and category 2. And here was posted in category 1. So as long as category 1 shows up, whenever I click on category 1 from the menu, I get the post related to that. Now if I click for all the posts filed under category 2, what should I see? Yep, exactly. I should see posted, the one that says posted in category 1 and 2, right? Because this is category 2. But now instead of category 1, I'll see the one for category 2. So let's try that. And there you go. This is just category 2. And this is category 1 and category 2. And so all the posts for that show up listed. Now the way this theme does it very nicely is it shows the first few lines. And then if they want to see the full article, then they just continue reading. And it goes to the post. Okay, so notice that now all of my navigation on the main menu for the pages and all of my navigation for all of my dynamic content on the site is all done automatically. There's no HTML, no layouts, no design, no nothing. I do that using categories and using the menu system for the pages. Now, I am going to show you I'm going to come back and do this a little bit later once we talk about SEO. So in the last little while, I'm going to talk about plugins and themes real quick, and then show you a real quick thing that you can do here to get SEO working, and then we'll call it a night.